Citizen MKO is here to say, hold on to your dream. That is your lifeline. That's your immunity. Today is the 12th day in the month of May in year 2025. And this is welcoming you to Open Forum with Citizen MKO on Memories 96.5 FM, a station that always leaves you with memorable moments. And on Open Forum, we are about people, issues, ideas, and solutions. And this is our town hall on radio, and it is a talk show of consequence for state and nation building. This show, this very program, is done in support of the Arise Agenda, Happy Hour, and the Renewed Hope initiative for Akwa Ibom people and Nigerians. And here we go into the root of issues. We're sorry we're starting the program behind time because of some technical matters, but every moment you spend on Open Forum, like we say always, it's 1 hour on radio that is what we call the most productive. Remember, I am first and foremost a productivity advocate, a reformer, and a citizen with extraordinary drive for patriotism. And today, we are going to be very sharp because we have two guests who are going to be with us. One is live here in the studio, a unique personality that you're going to meet in very few, in less than a minute or thereabout. And then our other guest is going to join us from Abuja because we have a critical matter, the 27th in the series of our stock taking and agenda setting for Akwa Ibom without oil. How would Akwa Ibom survive without revenue from FARC? That has been our concern. And this is the 27th week specifically on that matter. And the main issue that we are focusing the spotlight is on the legacy of waste. The spotlight is on the abandoned multi-million naira Girls Community Printing Press at Pioneer Newspaper, which is Akwa Ibom Newspaper Corporation, here in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and how to turn that very multi-million naira machines into revenue-generating outlets to boost our IGR. Last week, we hosted a guru in the media world, a veteran, a senior citizen, evangelist, Solomon Okpo. He has been on that matter for a long time until we got attracted to it, and we hosted him, and he brought revelations. That revelations and some of the people he named, we had to dig in, and today we are going to host one of the persons that he named, and I'm going to reveal that name shortly. So that is our policy analysis and advocacy, which is the number one matter on the front burner. We're also going to have a state of the state and state of the country, which you know is a regular feature. And what are we going to do there? We're going to just briefly look at the Akpabio versus Natasha tussle, which has taken some fresh dimensions. We have information that there is a presidential panel, and there is somebody that emerged in the scene, Sandra Duru, otherwise known as Professor Mpeke. And then just over the weekend, another person emerged by name Frances Olisa Ogbonnaya. Those dimensions that have been brought up we are going to just give us insight, because this town hall, we deal with critical issues. Since they have refused to settle that matter and it has become a national and global embarrassment, we must keep you posted on issues as they unfold. And we're also going to have look at a topic that has just been handled by the station Memories. They brought in a prof who has looked into the issue of this worsening educational standard. We are looking at one of the worst JAMB results in Nigeria and the NECO performance, particularly as it has to do with the Akwa Ibom state, Akwa Ibom candidate, the imperative for the declaration of a state of emergency in the education sector at all levels, not just at the state level. Then on humanitarian issue, we have the guest here, which I just want to leave that because once I introduce him, we are going to get into the show fully. But then one thing we normally do is that we leave you with the food for thought and thought for food. Then we look at the minutes, the resolutions of last week. We don't joke with that because we're not just a radio program. We don't come here to entertain. We come here to deal with serious issues because leaders, they rely on us. Citizens rely on us for the kind of information that cannot be faulted at any level by the grace of God. So we will give you the resolutions and then we get into the show fully. But first, let's take this thought for food and food for thought for this week. And it says, if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man should think, you don't have to worry about what he is going to do. If you make a man feel inferior, you don't have to force him accept an inferior state, because he will look for you himself. If you make a man think he is an outcast, you don't have to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. If there is no back door, his very nature will demand one. Carter G. Woodson. I don't want to repeat that. It's self-explanatory. A number of times you find certain persons, not just the vulnerable persons, but very highly placed persons, inferiority complex. They are overwhelmed by something somewhere. And you see them with all the glory, with all the glamour, with all the, oh, this is our master, this is our God, this is our this is our that. And you see him groveling, looking for the back door, looking for where to hide because this inferiority complex with all the blessings that person has. It is time that we must not allow others to control our thinking, else we'll be doomed as a people, as a family, as a village, community, local government, state, or country. Little wonder. Even our presidents, little wonder why Africa is the way it is. We are blessed beyond all nations on earth. But we happen to be beggarly and dependent on others. God forbid that this should continue. That is our thought for food and food for thought. For our last edition, which was on the 5th of May, we had these resolutions, and remember we had two guests. We had senior citizen Solomon Okpo, who dealt with the issue of the Akwa Ibom Newspaper Corporation machine, bought with a lot of money. You're going to hear the real sum today, because the man I'm going to host will tell us how much that machine was worth. And then we had Elder Etuodo Essien, if I'm not mistaken the name. We spoke about the issue of the name change. Eket, some persons want it to be changed to Eket, and we dealt with that. So the resolution that we had, some of them, maybe not all, is that the story of the procurement, abandonment at the port, installation, hurried commissioning in quote, and alleged non-handing over of the multi-million naira girls community printing machine at the Akwa Ibom Newspaper Corporation under the Godswill Akpabio administration requires the attention of His Excellency, that is the Governor Moino administration, given the potential economic benefit of the machine to the state, if and when put to use. 2. Open Forum shall follow up on the principal actors involved in the project, especially given the fact that the then Commissioner for Information, who was directly in charge of the processes well over a decade ago, is still the Commissioner and the Commissioner for Information under the Umoino-led administration. Because of the person we are hosting today, we suspended reaching out to the Commissioner for Information. We are going to reach out to him after now, because we have enough information from the actors, direct actors, so that we can have him speak on the issue to help us make our memo to His Excellency. Third, the widely reported inclusion of names of stakeholders and well-placed politically exposed persons as beneficiaries in the ongoing Akwa Ibom State Town Square meeting and empowerment programs is against the vision of His Excellency Dr. Mo Eno and the Arise Agenda the Arise Agenda. Perpetrators should be stripped of such disgraceful display of greed and insensitivity to the plight of less privileged citizens who are prime targets of the program. I don't want to overhype that. You've heard names, you've seen pictures, you've seen the booklet where names of former this and that, state chairman, former house member, former council chairman, being included, their phone numbers, their details, their farms, or what they do, and how much they were entitled to. And that list was supposed to have been collated by a dedicated body and vetted before being published. So if you hear excuses, they're just tales by moonlight. Representative Unyimiden of Okanafon, Uroganamfora constituency, is commended for his sterling representation at the National Assembly. We also commend him for drawing the governor's attention to an unimplemented directive for the appointment of one Ekponobong Muzesumo, a son of Okanafon, as essay to the governor on education monitoring with effect from 1st June 2023, which attracted an instant implementation. Those that are yet to implement Governor Moino's directive for automatic employment, such as that of Mrs. Eme Inyanabong Tom, where His Excellency directed the Commissioner for Agriculture to effect her employment with the Bulk Purchase Agency since March 8, 2024 at Akpan Isemen Hall, Government House, Uyo, should act upon such directive by the governor. I don't want to emphasize this. We are going to do our best within the week to be sure this very issue is addressed so that Mrs. Eme Inyanabong Tom can also benefit. That of Ekponobong Muzesumo, the governor had to make sure that his appointment takes effect from 2023 when he gave the directive. So he's going to get his full pay and whatever other entitlements. We commend His Excellency. That's why we call him compassion personified. So those that are not taking directive from His Excellency but are in the system, who are directly involved with such matters, we will get to you, please. We will get to you. We'll hear from you. And then before we pass our letter to His Excellency. And then Open Forum, and Patricia Gregory Okun, the fiscally challenged lady who cried to us about 2-3 years ago, who was also with me at the hunger strike to beg the former governor to come to our aid, to have mercy on us, but he left us in tears and went away, and we flooded Barracks Road with tears, and we went back. By the grace of God, the mother, who was in the mortuary for 8 years, was buried on the 2nd. Open Forum took that up because where there's a will, there's a way. And somebody came to our aid, and that is none other than the secretary to the Akwa Ibom State government, Prince Enobongowa. And we're able to bury Mrs. Alice Gregory Okun, a 71-year-old woman who stayed in the mortuary for 8 years, because it's not just an issue of money. There are other issues, and we are taking up this matter because it's not peculiar to that woman. There are others who are still in the mortuary, some maybe more than 8 years. I've heard there are some in 10 years. That is desecration of the land. we will take up this matter, and by the grace of God, we are going to have a press conference this week. I'm saying this because it is necessary. We have challenges. We don't have funding. We don't have support that we should, but we do not care because it is unto God that we are doing this as a form of worship and service to humanity. So whatever it takes, we're going to have a press conference. We're going to address some of these issues. We're going to take up advocacy on what is to be done to traditional rights for burials, traditional rights for marriages in Akwa Ibom State, and then above all, making supposed leaders and leaders at all levels to be responsible. You can't have somebody in your family for 8 years, 10 years in a mortuary, even 3 years. It doesn't call for consent. You can be a traditional ruler in such a community and still be able to sleep well. We're going to address it. There may be others. We don't want to go into it because our time is fast spent, but this is important because even if you miss our program, you cannot miss these rundowns that we do, which are available and is done for posterity. Thank you so very much. Having said that, I want to go straight. First by introducing the guest in the studio, and then we'll also introduce the guest that is going to join us virtually from Abuja. The guest in the studio, I wish you are online to see him. He's live here in the studio. We are streaming live on Open Forum with MKO on Facebook. We are going to have this broadcast on YouTube, and we are also streaming on Memories 965 FM, also on Facebook. So you can go there, join us, and then see who we are hosting live in the studio, and you will hear the man that will talk from Abuja. The man here in the studio is Mr. Onodion Hussein, an indigene of Ikwenang in Etemekpo local government area, Akwa Ibom State. He is an educationist with master's degree obtained from Michael Opara University of Agriculture with special teaching talent. He's also a minister of the gospel and a prolific writer. What is unique about this very guest? What's unique about him is that he is visually impaired. He cannot see, but that has helped him to make his legs, everything about him is see. His heart sees. And what brought him to us? We hosted a Kerebong Ekwere, another physically impaired person who could not finish his master's degree. He cried to us, and we cried to the world. And one man came and assisted us, and by the grace of God, Ekerebong has completed his master's program. And one of the tears he cried was that he needed a reading aid. And this visually impaired person donated his own reading aid. He said he had two, brand new. He donated it. He never knew Ekerebong. He just heard. I gave Ekerebong's number here. They talked, they met, and Ekerebong brought the reading aid. In as much as he needs another one now, but I said I'm going to host this unique person called Onodion Hussein. Onodion Hussein, you are welcome to Open Forum with MKO.
Thank you very much, sir.
You are most welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Let me introduce our other guests in Abuja. I'm sure he's watching us. He will know when I'm going to call on him. He is none other than Mr. Patrick Hussein. I won't say more than that. Patrick Hussein, who he is and what he has done and what he hopes to come out from what he did for the state, you will hear in our conversation today. We are not shifting it. We are not shifting it. So, Mr. Patrick Hussein, if you're watching us online, please, if you stand by, we're going to put a call across to you since it's not possible for you to join us here live. And then straight to Onodion. Onodion.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Open Forum once again.
It's a privilege to be here, sir.
We are going to have maybe 10 minutes with you because we need to talk with Mr. Patrick Hussein, and then we have other issues we're going to give hints about. But that 10 minutes or thereabout is going to be very fruitful. You listened to our program, and then you acted on an appeal that was made by a fellow visually impaired person. What motivated that kind of move?
I would simply say it's good to do good, and it pays to do good.
Awesome. Now, you are needy. People, I'm sorry to use that term. Naturally, if somebody is challenged, People are challenged differently.
Yes.
I have said I have legs, but I am challenged. You just had me make appeal. We are running this program almost like saying with blood, but we don't care because we have to do by faith. Faith is our currency, but we need to translate it to cash. When did you start discovering that you have this passion to help people? Let me start from there.
So I think I will say it's from my background.
What is your background, very briefly?
My background, my Christian background, my parents, they have taught us giving, so we learn from there.
Awesome. I thank you so very much. Learning from what good parents is what has brought you to us. And when we talked off, you told me how frustrated you have been about humanity, about people, enough that you almost gave up until you heard us and said, this person is like he's a serious person. What made you sound so frustrated about humans?
It's my experience in my own state.
Which one is your state?
Akwa Ibom State.
What is that experience?
I was redeployed from Kogi State during my NYSC to Akwa Ibom because of this same challenge.
The challenge?
Yes.
Of your site?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was posted to School of Nursing, then School of Nursing. I think now they call it campus.
Okay.
Akwa Ibom State College of Nursing campus.
Where?
In Uyo here, Anwa.
What happened there?
Between 2012 and 2013, I was serving as a core member there.
Okay.
And after that, I was retained, engaged by the school because of my commitment.
Really?
Yes, to continue teaching there. Though the principal then, as the case was, of blessed memory, Lady Irene Inyang, said that if she has her way, she would have kept me as a permanent staff. But attempts were made to make sure that I am kept as a permanent staff. But that was not successful because I don't want to go into that. But I've served there for good 10 years. With the hope that as it runs, that along the way I will be absorbed. But it was very frustrating that after my 10 years of service in that school, I was just got relieved of my duty just like that.
Now, after your service here, you were retained because you were good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You were still retained as a casual staff.
Yes.
And you said something the first time we met, because yes. I needed to see you, and you came with your family. For your information, Onodion has a wonderful family, beautiful wife, and 2 lovely sons, all lovely children.
That's the grace of God.
Grace of God. Congratulations. You're in my office, and they are my friends. Yes. So, when you served, the stipends are normally given to core members by the immediate office the person serves. Were you given?
So I was deprived of the 10,000 monthly allowance approved by the state government of Akwa Ibom for 12 months I served.
Why did that happen?
So I don't know how to explain that, but I think it was because 2 elements were fighting in the then Ministry of Health. That is where the school, that is the ministry that managed the school as at that.
Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Health as at that time. So posted to School of Nursing, which was its parastatal, I was asked to go there to be captured for that payment. I went there, waited in the office for 2 hours. When the director of medical services that was serving then came, I tendered my request. She asked me to go out and go back to NYSC, that I should be reposted to Ministry of Health. When I have my predecessors who had passed through the same enrollment, I just discovered that there was a tussle. There was a kind of, I don't know what to say. Yes, infighting between director and another director. The director that was my boss and this very director, and I was deprived of that opportunity.
And those people did not have the compassion to know that you cannot be made a victim, because one of the things that I used to introduce was that you are a victim of oppression.
Yes, sir.
A victim, you've been victimized. You are a survivor, not just a victim, you are a survivor because you've outlived them by the grace of God. And then, till now, was any time they invite you to come and collect your stipend?
No.
If you are an authority in the Ministry of Health, and those in the, what do you call that center again? School of Nursing.
Then it was School of Nursing, now a campus of Akwa Ibom State College of Nursing.
We are going to follow up on the records of Onodion to see that his entitlement when he served between 2012 and 2013, that entitlement, even if it's 1 naira, is paid. You will hear from us authorities, but beyond that, there are some other things you mentioned, that you were, even the people in that very campus, the authorities there were against you. What were you doing that pitched you against the people of where you were serving?
Sir, I introduced a preparatory class. Then they used to organize this entrance examination. Not now, they are using JAM. So I introduced a preparatory class for candidates seeking to get admission into School of Nursing. The director of nursing services then, sir, I want to reserve names.
Reserve names? Just is
I
okay.
want to reserve names. Came directly attacking that program, that is not their culture. And I survived because the principal then understood my passion for teaching, directed me on what to do. So I had to move away from the facility and get another facility to be running the program.
Okay.
So the next thing that I have first, the next challenge I have first with them is compiling questions, past questions, and providing answers to them to prepare candidates for the entrance exam. And they were like, if I was dealing with hard drugs, in fact, it was a big fight.
How do you mean by that?
Because they were against it. They were seriously against it. In fact, once, yes, as if I was committing a crime. Once they even have to seize one of my employees, they found with the past question booklet. But now I don't know how they can reconcile that, because their prospective candidates or students, I will use that. Their prospective students are going for preparatory class, that's JAM, and they're using JAM pass question because now the mode of entry is through JAM. I don't know how they can reconcile that.
When that happened, what came to your mind? Was it that these people did not like your person, or they lack the vision that people should be prepared for examination? What do you think made supposed authorities that should encourage academic excellence to attack you?
So one of the major factors that I recognize was that they were not running the program as if it's an academic program.
How were they running the program?
They were running as if it's just a kind of a apprenticeship. Thank God now that the dream of making the place an academic environment has come true. And I believe that the changes that have started happening will continue.
Let's leave it there. You are a writer. What are the books you've written so far?
Okay, I've written a book on anatomy, succinct anatomy and physiology. I've written a book on ICT in health. I've written a book on...
Okay, leave it there. Are they being bought? Are they being used anywhere?
Yes.
Where?
Like ICT was adopted by the schools of nursing, and some of the campuses are still using it today.
Okay, let's leave it there. Onodion is a gift from God to Akwa Ibom State. He is so blessed enough that his lack of sight, which is something I would have loved to talk about, but because of time, I won't be able to talk about it now. We may likely have him some other time. He is so blessed that people would cite people that are not physically challenged become mentally challenged when they come to him. Now, what is your request?
Sir, I will respectfully and humbly request the government of Akwa Ibom State, and specifically, I want to, sir, permit me to stand.
No, sir, we are in the studio. No, please don't.
Okay.
We are streaming. Sit down.
In honor
help him back to this. Help him back.
In honor to my governor, His Excellency, Pastor Umo Eno.
Yes.
My appeal is that my talents, my passion should not be allowed to be wasted. I should be engaged permanently. What I can do with this challenge is teaching, and I have passion for it. So if I'm engaged, I promise that I will do my very best to deliver.
I lack words. I know once in a while I've had to cry on air, like when a young girl that we try to see how we can help her said on air that she doesn't want to die. Government should come to his aid. But that government, that administration never cared. That young girl died. 8-year-old girl died. I wept. Thank God we were not penalized for doing that on air. And I've just heard another deep one. He wanted to stand up but because he's physically challenged, he doesn't know the gadgets in front of him, can't see. This very sight issue, I must add, this sight issue, for knowledge of those who may not know, what do you call this kind of sight issue? It's important we drop it.
It is diagnosed to be retinitis pigmentosa, a genetic disorder. It doesn't really have a medical therapy for now, except those aids we just use to manage.
Good. That is enough from childhood, and the parents were so smart, they told him, this challenge that you have, you're going to move very fast, and he got to school, brilliant, did finish his degree program, went for his master's, and here he is, he has appealed to His Excellency, Dr. Umo Basieno. We call you, sir, compassion personified. Some people challenge me, has he settled your problem? I said, no, it's not about me, I'm solving other people's problem. My problem is going to be solved, but please, Your Excellency, a letter will come from us, just like that of a cherubim, just like others. Please let Honorium Hussein be gainfully engaged. And the authorities of Ministry of Health and the School of Nursing, whatever name it has now or whatever name it was then, we are going to reach out to you. His entitlement as a core member, you are going to give it to him. We will follow up and report to humanity that that is done. Thank you so very much. You are still going to remain with us because it is important we take our call with the man that is supposed to speak on the machine that was bought for use by Akwa Ibom State government, Akwa Ibom, what do you call that place again? Newspaper Corporation. And that machine has been dumped for several years. I understand that the building housing it, the roof leaks, and that machine has been exposed to all manners of weather and all that. I'm trying to put a call across. So, I'm Patrick Hussein in Abuja. I hope he's online watching us. Yeah, hello, sir. I am citizen Matthew Kofi O'Connor, an NKO on Open Forum is an NKO on radio on Memories 96.5 FM in Uyo. You are live on air, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so very much. I believe I'm talking with Mr. Patrick Hussein.
Yes, speaking.
Thank you so much. Who is Patrick Hussein?
Patrick Hussein is an entrepreneur. I deal on high technology in the print media industry and the dairy farms and the dairy technologies.
Good to know, sir. We hosted a media guru, senior citizen Solomon Okpo, who's a publisher of Evangelist newspaper and also sports recorder. And he has been driving an advocacy that there were machines that were supplied to the Akwa Ibom Newspaper Corporation and abandoned since the era of His Excellency Godswill Akpabio. And he mentioned your name and also mentioned the name of the man that was the general manager then, who happens to be Mr. Udo Silas. Yes. So please, what was your role in that the purchase of that machine? Let us know your role first.
Hello?
What was your role in the purchase of the God's Community machine?
I don't even know what I want to do with this information, but I was the person that proposed the procurement of the God's Community machine and the Supra-Theta CTP to the Akwa Ibom State AKMC. My intention actually was for commercialization of Pioneer Printing Press. Okay. To enable them print for themselves, to enable them print for the other newspapers that were coming to this house 2-3 days later after publication in their different domains. So it was my intention that we should have technology and also train our people on how to have skills with such high levels of technology even in the web offset press.
You said, yes, sir. Let me come. You said you proposed it. Were you also involved in the purchase directly?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Now, the machine, when it was delivered, between when you were paid, or when you paid actually, when you paid for your services, sir?
The governor then, Dr. Gospel Fabio, in his wisdom, gave approval for that machine to be procured. But that he was so scared of scandal that the period was associated with the Igbo and the other foundation. So he said he wanted a direct procurement from the company overseas, and he does not want a middleman. Therefore, he later compared to a race to Heidelberg of Germany, and then the graphics of England.
Interesting.
So they were paid directly, and the government said they are going to pay the commission and consultancy, but up to date, I will speak a little bit again.
My God. Now, how much was that machine valued as at then?
Yeah, the machine, the God Community SSC, we have offset about $1.2 million. It's what?
Now,
$1.2 million.
Did that include delivery cost of freight?
No, that did not include the cost of freight. And that did not also include the cost of clearing and moving them to vacancy premises. That would have been about $1.5 million in total.
Interesting. Now, was a special building constructed to house this machine?
Yes, the governor then was so magnanimous. He gave approval for a specialized, a purpose design building for that machine. The architect that was in charge had a brief that he should do a purpose design machine building that will warehouse that machine, the two equipment, and it was done.
Beautiful.
The governor was good enough, so he did that for them, and that house I think was about 800 million naira or thereabout.
Really?
So yeah, sure. So everything that was put into that project is not less than 2.something billion naira.
Before I take on some very critical questions, what is the cost of that machine as we speak now, sir?
The cost of that machine, my brother, that machine should not be less than $2 million now. It should not be less than that.
Now, one thing that Citizen Okpo said that really pricked my heart was the fact that the machine was one abandoned in the war for a long time, and when it was brought, installed, it was hurriedly commissioned, and that machine has not printed a single sheet of paper, neither was it ever handed over to the authorities of the Akwa Ibom Municipal Corporation. You were supposed to be the consultant. You were supposed to have followed through the process. What do you have to say about that very statement by Citizen Solomon Okpo?
Yeah, I think the Ministry of Information were a bit secretive. They were a bit, I don't know whether to say corrupt. I think they were not transparent in the whole process. The Ministry of Information in particular, the commissioner then and the permanent secretary were not truthful to government. They were not truthful to the people. They wasted the volume of that money in that state. The commissioner then, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Information, they did so much that I couldn't even understand what they were actually looking for.
You are making a very strong statement. Let me come, sir.
The machine was horribly delivered. They did not give them information. The machine was coming and all that. All of a sudden, they saw machine, 9 trucks, trailer loads of container load of machines coming in. I told them, have you checked the bill of lading? Have you checked the content? Have you checked the equipment list? Whether what you ordered for has been delivered? I think the government will be careless. I don't want to use the word careless. I think they had so many things to hide, and they didn't check that. They hardly tried to install the machine. They did not even follow the simple engineering installation procedure. And the machine crashed in their hands, and they abandoned it and left. The question I always ask is that if this machine were to belong to the commissioner, if this machine were to belong to the then permanent secretary, would they have wasted $2.something million
now
thrown to the drain?
Let's say from you, who was the commissioner? Who was the permanent secretary?
Ade Karumana.
Nekarumana, yes. His name was mentioned. Who was the permanent secretary?
And one Sanga. I learned that Nathan wants to come and auction the machine and buy it for about 5 million naira. I think he said he wants to do that. So is the government is the government listening to the people? Is the government proactive? Is the government protecting our commonwealth? How can you waste such volume of money? And the same man is recycled and say you want to buy the machine for 5 million naira.
Now, where do you get that information from? Because your statements are quite strong. I'm going to write to, maybe talk to him, or maybe write to him to host him.
I think somebody called me from Uyo some days ago and asked me whether I'm aware that the government wants to sell the machine and how much the machine, whether they want to sell it for. I had left that place because I've appealed several to different governors that we should look into that machine, that they cannot waste that volume of money and go back home and sleep. Commonwealth, if this were to be their father's property, is that what we have done? Most of the people tried so much to ensure that that machine works. But if the commissioner keeps on, putting spanners in the wheel of progress, and the man got frustrated and left them. I was in his office one day, and he said, "What should we do to install it?" We tried to work with him to ensure that that machine works, but the commissioner keeps on having his private interests, and the machine is left, wasted.
Well, sir,
that machine, let me tell you, my brother, that machine, the God SSC, it has the capacity to print 17 color pages, 32 black and white, and runs 500,000 impressions per hour. It will print for the whole of the South paper that is coming into the South. All the newspaper houses will print in less than 3-4 hours. It is done. That was what I saw, and the governor said, "Okay, Patrick, this is good. We can buy, I'm not going to buy it from you. I buy it straight from the manufacturers."
Interestingly, and you have not been even given a dime for your patriotism.
They have not.
Now let's do this. Open forum is about people, issues, ideas, and solutions, and we are doing this for the good of humanity, and we are doing this without fear or favor. We are doing this so that nobody will say we never had the information. Now you are live. You are there. You are in Abuja, I guess, and by the grace of God, this conversation will continue. It will be a disservice to our listeners not to be able to call in to say something, because even those that have been named may even want to call on radio now. So before that is done, so that we don't lack time to drop any important information, is there any other important comment or statement you want to make in 30 seconds or less than a minute, please?
Let the government set up a commission of inquiry.
Okay.
Judicial commission of inquiry. Like a resident goes to the Pablo did when Ibokwe tried to swindle our people. Let him tell and find out why the machine not working. Who is responsible for causing this kind of damages to our economy? So that people could be taught a lesson, or at least we should be able to return the machine to original concept for printing, for service to our people. I think if that's not done, this is all efforts in futility.
You have dropped it. You have dropped it. Just stay on the line. We want to invite our listeners. If you want to contribute to the conversation today, please, the numbers to call are 0803 085 7755, or you call 0809 066 6909. I want to appeal. If you have my number, please don't call. I am using my number to speak with our guest, Mr. Patrick Usain, from Abuja. And this conversation is so strong, so powerful that nobody should disrupt them to call my line, please. Yes. So we are live on air. If you are calling in, the number to call once again is 0803 085 7755. And we want you to speak on the matter that is at hand. Mr. Patrick said is still on the line. And while he is still on the line, I want to take on until we have a caller. Please stay on the line. I want to talk about the very pathetic situation happening in the education sector. Akwa Ibom State has been ranked, from what we have seen here, under the Standard Educational Performance Ranking of States in 2024 SSC internal. That is the NECO. I think we have a caller. Yes. Good morning. Please move away from your radio set. Move away from your radio set. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, please. Your name and where you're calling from.
Sir.
Good morning, sir.
I'm calling from
Okay. Well, your name?
My name is Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, go ahead. You have 1 minute, please.
I'm very sorry for I'm very sorry to not join your program, but I want to ask.
Yes.
No, question.
Go ahead, please.
The man that do Igbo program, Okulora, we don't know what I'm there for his studio.
We are having a very serious matter. We're not here to do inquiries, please. Hello?
So, the man is around.
Hello? Okay. If you are calling in, you are to speak on the issue we have at hand. Please don't make inquiries on what we are not talking about. We have a call on the line. Hello?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Please go ahead, sir.
I'm so happy for this and the guest.
Thank you.
Please, I want to say that is there any avenue for our governor, Pastor Umobasela, to be hearing this type of thing in the state? Because you brought somebody who spoke from London, the other about Italy.
Yeah. The quality ceramics.
Quality ceramics.
That's right.
And they are not getting anything.
Yes.
It's more away from this scheme, and then we are trying for employment. We are trying for no money. We need to employ people. It should be.
Very good question. Excuse me. Thank you so very much. I can assure you our program are being monitored, and we also send letters. And we are not just going to send letters this time. We send letters, and then we're going to do a press conference this very week. Yes. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
I'm Veronica, calling from Rowan and local government.
Thank you very much. Your point.
I want to commend you, sir, on this great discovery and inquiries and the care that you have about the resources of this state.
Thank you.
I really commend you, and I'm glad that you mentioned the secretary to the state government, that he had been of help to that lady that buried the mother.
Absolutely.
And I believe, since it's involved in this open forum, you will get this discovery, this great work that you are doing straight to the governor. Thank you for the care about the state and the humanity.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you.
I really appreciate. God bless you too. Thank you so very much. Fidelis Etim and Veronica, they are appreciative of what we are doing, and they are believing that the government should be interested. And indeed, government is interested. When we raise the issue of the oil sector, that there's nothing about Akwa Ibom State that shows that we are an oil producing state, and we made advocacies. His Excellency signed an executive order about a week or two thereafter the program, where I hosted Barrister James Essien, and he, by the grace of God, has set up the Labour and Industrial Committee. Our people pay taxes to Rivers State and Lagos State majorly, those in the oil sector. We've done our findings, even some of our relatives, some of our people that we know. So we need to make sure that these things are real. We don't care what some other people do, because some people believe in blackmail. We have grown past that. We fear no evil. We are not even looking for appointment. but we can make contributions that even you handling a sector that you can have a budget of billions may not compete with what we try to do with bare hands. Our appeal is that we need help. We need sponsors. I'm sure I'm owing this program that I'm running. I don't want to talk about it. So please, if you believe in what you are doing, we need support. We are going to handle a press conference. We need support. And in doing that, we'll be able to do more. Whatever you see us do, I keep saying it, is just 5% of what we can do. 5%. Well, still waiting for other calls or maybe just one call. We're about running up now. I want to say this. There's no time to go into details. We had raised the issue that Akwa Ibom State has an education roadmap put in place by the Emmanuel administration that was midwifed by Professor Hilary Nyang. That master plan, a state of emergency was declared in 2020 and immediately abandoned. I understand, I think it was the super chairman who was here last week and he said our governor declared state of emergency. I want to fault that because I was a member, co-opted member of the education think tank, that there's no other state of emergency. The state of emergency that has a record, a 437-page document with 17 initiatives, with all the schools in the state captured with the budget they require to make them work, has not been implemented. Even Professor Hilary Nyang, I hosted him here, is still being owed. There is no state of emergency. The governor is doing his best, but no best will be good enough if what we are doing in that sector is not done according to a plan. So what am I saying? Would you believe that Akwa Ibom State is ranking number 32, beaten by states like Yobe, Cross River, Zamfara, Ekiti, Jigawa, Delta, Sokoto, Borno, Kwara, name them. Some state, Kogi State, they beat us flat. We are at number 32 out of 36 states. And somebody will say, we are recycling people. When you recycle unproductive people, garbage in, garbage out. People keep saying this. Your Excellency, please declare a state of emergency. Once again in the education sector, implement the AXA master plan, and then we'll be ready for proper result. For now, whatever money is put in is like a waste. Mr. Patrick said.
Yes, I'm with you.
We just have 10 seconds for your saying goodbye till we host you once again because we need you, certainly. We will need you. Can you just say something? Because we are running out.
I think it is not going to be all important utility.
At all, it will not be.
Because government will not listen to, I don't know.
No, just leave it there. Leave it there. We assure you, this matter, we shall not rest until something positive is done. We have our brother in the studio. In 10 seconds, just say goodbye to our listeners and our viewers who are online.
Okay, thank you so much. Wish you all the best. I like your confidence. I trust you. The governor, I think the president of the governor today is like more like Gospel of Papio that vision. Try to do so many things for our people.
You are right.
That will come.
We'll give you feedback. Thank you.
The governor follows up.
Thank you.
That makes it can be up and be useful to our people.
Consider it done. Yes. I'm not done. Just say goodbye.
Goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. This is the size of the program. I remain citizen Matthew Kofi O'Connor. I am just an ordinary citizen, but I have a driver's citizen. And what we are doing is for the good of the state. This is how we celebrate our